Hello and welcome to another edition of That Random Model Unboxing and Review. Today we will be talking about the 1/48 scale Snark Guided Missile, the SM-62. This is an intercontinental guided missile. If you're not familiar with what that does, this is the grandfather of Unboxing and Review. Today we will be talking about This is the grandfather of today's cruise missiles. Not Tom Cruise, cruise missiles, military. All right. There is a map of the parts. That's found on a lot of modern American manufacturers. This kit is a mold from AMT. There is also a Snark Guided Missile kit that includes ground crew, but is in a different scale from Revell Monogram, but it is a very similar style. It also includes a different trailer for the missile. So this is a different mold altogether. In fact, they are different sizes, so they're different scales. Here is some of your ground crew. If you look closely at the details, you will see that there is some flash that needs to be cleaned up. Probably sand that back, and some good painting will take care of it. Here's some mold marks. Oh, some bad mold marks. Looks like they've got a rivet going through their backsides, literally their backside. Now, this is a great example of what flash is. The part ends right here, but this extra part is excess plastic that's been injected into the mold. And what that is that gets in between the mold and it leaks out a little bit, causing this degree of flash. So if you've ever heard anybody use the term flash or mold marks, this is what they're referring to. And this is something that you need to clean up. You need to snip off either with some type of tool. One of my favorite tools for trimming close to sprues or removing sprue marks is a very inexpensive nail clipper. You usually can get two, one that has a concave or a flat or even a convex angle. They're for trimming different types of nails. But anyway, getting back to the kit, this is your part of your ground crew. These are the tires for the trailer that the Snark is loaded onto. And there is a tractor in here to move it around. These are your pieces for the trailer, as well as your JTO OL takeoff, the jet assisted takeoff, or JTO, jet assisted takeoff. Looking into the packaging, this is part of your launch vehicle. This is the support beams, ground parts. Looks like a type of a metal mesh that's been molded into plastic, which means this is a good opportunity to source some scale mesh that's similar to scale, similar to this pattern, and you can bend it in these contours and put in some plastic sprue or styrene for support, and you could replace this piece with something that looks more realistic. Down here you've got plate metal that's been molded into the plastic. This doesn't look too bad. They do offer aftermarket plate metal though. That does look fantastic in most scales. It would probably look fine in this scale as well. Plus, it's really hard to replicate the look of metal or painted metal, you'd have to be extremely skillful at what you do, and a lot of people are. Even if you're starting out, a lot of times your first kits can come out looking really good if a little bit of determination and focus. Again, we're not trying to always win an award with every kit. The purpose is to relax, enjoy the process, and make something that you enjoy. This is the tire pattern. Well, not the tire pattern, but the rim pattern. Again, for a more realistic piece, you might even drill this out with a X-Acto blade or even a drill bit that's very small. But of course, when you look at something like this, you're not always looking at the details of the trailer, the hub rims and stuff. You're looking at the other pieces. You're looking at the subject itself, or you're looking at other little details that are blending the whole thing in together. Sometimes everything can be at an 8, but look like a 9 or a 10 because all the little details are just pulling everything together. It depends on how you paint figures, for example, maybe how you weather them. Here's more example of flashing right here below the arms. Very nice kit so far. A lot of these will have fit and finish problems. We won't know that until we actually start to build this. This is an example of that meshing pattern that can be replicated with actual clear mesh, and then painted to match the color of the trailer. I don't know the plates themselves if they were solid on these. Generally, if something is solid plating, it'll have that diamond pattern, the pleat pattern. And here is the kit itself. Always be careful when handling sharp objects. Sometimes it's good to grab the right tool for the right job. In this case, scissors. And here is the Snark, the body of the Snark right here. No, not the body of the Snark. This is the wings. In your tail section, you can see it's going to be a beefy, chunky monkey when it's done. And you can see also the, let's see if we can get some nice light on that to show you the pattern of the rivets. Let's see if I can get right here. You've got some nice seam lines. Now this is not a seam line. This is a panel line. It's not a recessed panel line. It's a extended panel line, and you've got your extended rivets that have been molded into the plastic. Some very nice parts. Now, looking at this, I'm seeing that there's not any recessed panel lines. So when you have certain panel lines, especially on jets and everything that come together, sometimes to get it more realistic, you want to shave it back very, very carefully and then sand it back very lightly. What you'll need to do is then scribe it with a panel scriber. You can use something like an X-Acto, but a panel scriber will usually give you a little bit better control, a little bit better results. Something like this is a very thick blade. A panel scriber can have a very thin blade. And you just keep working at it, working at it, working at it, and very soon you'll have a nice scribed line there. But it depends. You do your right research to find out if this is recessed or if this is exposed like this. So I doubt it is, but it could be. 60s missile technology back then was very. I mean, they were still using canvas on tailplanes. So, I'm sorry, this isn't back in the 50s. That's right, this is back in the 50s. Now, this is the body of the Snark, the fuselage. We've got the overhead wing and the underslung air intake for the jet engine. Of course, you've got the other side. This will give me a little preview. Well, you can't look at it too well right now, but some of this stuff doesn't help us to line everything up. What you might want to do is sand back, and of course you want to take those pieces off and then sand back and look and see where your panel lines go. If you start off and you're real tight seam right there and it widens out, where do you sand? You sand where it's narrow, and then you bring it a little closer together. You might, as you glue it, clamp it down, rubber bands, maybe a very lightly cushioned C-clamp. There's the body of the Snark right there, and you got that wing sitting right off of it, and you got the tail fin right there. And when I was doing research on this, because you know me, of course I'm doing research on this, I found out that not only was this developed in the late 40s and early 50s, but they also used P61 Black Widows for part of their research and development, and that was in another video I have. If you haven't seen that, please watch that video. It is a fun video. I will be starting on a build on that, hopefully within the next month or two. Here's the finished intake. That would go over the piece on the fuselage. Here are the other pieces of the wing. This is your jet engine halves. These are extended range under the wing fuel tanks. And here's your this is your jet assisted takeoff. I was wrong about the other ones. I thought the other ones were, but here's your jet assisted takeoff ones. Those other ones are just other types of tanks. Of course, the instructions will call we'll call out what everything is. And here are your instructions right here. Read this before you begin. Nice little instructions laid out. Of course, this is a pictorial instruction. There's no details on how everything goes together in case you get stuck. Here's your tractor. Here's the trailer. But this is not a tractor trailer, but I guess rudimentally this is technically a tractor trailer. Here's your body. And the back page will be saved for your painting and your decals. Here's your belly tank right there. And then your booster JTOW rockets. Now, the moment we all love looking at, decals. Now, if you paint it orange, bright orange, which would be the research and development test pieces, this is going to be your markings for those. It'll be like a bright day glow orange would be close to that. You can look through for specific, actually matched paint through different sources. Model Master used to be one of the best. They're no longer in business, to my knowledge. You also have the regular U.S. Air Force markings for the other styles. The test one also has the Snark on it, as well as Northrop aircraft. You've got the 1950s Air Force logos, as well as the Strategic Air Command, which was in its infancy at this time. Again, this was developed in the late 40s and the mid 50s. This was intended to be a answer to deliver nuclear payload to the enemy, which at the time was Soviet Russia and its allies. And while developing this, they're also developing other things, of course, because that's what happens in a war-based economy. Is a lot of pots are in the fire at the same time. And while they were developing the Snark, they were also developing, which when you look at the size of this in comparison with the ground crew, I mean, this is almost a plane right here. This is unmanned. This ground crew is just to launch it. But this is unmanned. It does have a guidance system that was very advanced for its time. It's still considered something that's considered used in some areas. Is that it's an actual star lookup guidance system. It uses the stars not at night, but actually it can see through the atmosphere in the daytime. It'll look into the outside of the planet. It'll see the stars and find out where its location is, and then continue on. But while they were developing this, they were also developing ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles, not guided missiles, and those were large rockets, like a Saturn V rocket almost. They would be launched usually from a underground silo up into space, and then as it gets high enough in the atmosphere, it would leave the Earth's orbit, and it would curve down and then come back down over another target area, presumably Russia or Cuba, any of those areas. And so that was the ideal way at the time to prevent nuclear war. So that is a brief little history of the Snark to go along with your unboxing and review. Again, you've got this safety orange paint scheme with the very striking white decals. You've got your jet assisted takeoff, your belly tanks. You've got your crew. Now, like I said, the Revell one has a different trailer option, and I think it actually pivots up at a steeper angle too. So you've got your ground crew. You can paint them how you like. You've got quite a few guys to work with. I think there's it says on the box there's like 9 or 12 people. I'm sure I could count. I'm sure someone else is counting it. They're going to leave that in the comments, I'm sure. Yeah, whatever. I appreciate watching, but it's not about, there you go, 9 figures. It's not about correcting. It's about having fun. It's about let's enjoy it. More of these striking development markings. Here's exactly what you get: the launch platform, the tractor and trailer for maneuvering it, and the stairway. Now, this can be, you can make this however you want to in a lot of different poses. You can have the trailer. This part, well, that wasn't scripted. This part right here goes under here, and so you could probably position this with these up. You could cut them if you have to, and then move them up so that they're still part of it, but they'd be higher up. You could have this thing moving it around, whatever you want to. There might be a way to reposition this. I don't know if it's adjustable after it's built, but you have it there. There's your removable rocket engine. You can also display this on its side. You can do like a museum piece. You can do other things. When I was researching this, I saw one thing that's really neat. I saw a Snark that was painted in what it would be used at the time for. It would be painted in a light gray. It would have your U.S. Air Force markings on it and everything. Maybe the Strategic Command. You wouldn't have any of these white markings on it. This might be painted white, or it might be painted gray, and some of them didn't even have it on there. So optionally, you could have this not on there. You could have these not on there. But what I saw the basic Snark. I don't think it had the drop tanks, but it was displayed at an angle like it was launching or flying through the air, and the back had a structure that kept it onto the ground, but that it could be displayed. Now, if you ever go to a military base, especially an Air Force base, a lot of times at the entrance, they will have some old retired piece of hardware that is anchored to the ground, but in an action pose. If you do research on that and you find one that you really like that is used that way, maybe an A7 Skyhawk or some kind of other small aircraft, you could display it and build the display very similar to what you have and paint it so it matches, and have yourself a very nice display, especially if you have a little plaque at the bottom, like some of them will. Welcome to this, welcome to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, or whatever one you're looking at. In Pensacola, at the rest area on the freeway on I-10, there's actually, I want to say it's an A7 Skyhawk that's at the rest area, just going off the base, or off the freeway. So it's not, you don't even have to get to the base to see it, but they have that there, and it looks really neat. And it's an old piece of military hardware that's just been, the canopy would be painted over. There's nothing on it that's usable. There's nothing that you can strip on it. There's of course no jet engine on it. There's no armament. It's just in an action pose. It's just made to look really neat. So that's the Snark. Again, it was developed in conjunction with. It was used with. It used the P-61 Black Widow during its development. It was something that was developed as the grandfather to the cruise missiles. This was an intercontinental guided missile. It wasn't a ICBM, intercontinental ballistic missile. So a little bit different, but nonetheless a very important part of history, a very important part of the world we live in. And it makes a great display model when it's done. I'm sure. I haven't built this. I haven't put it together, but it does look like it shouldn't be too hard to bit. It is an older kit, as you can tell from the flash. The bigger the flash marks and everything, the older the kit. So if you have something that's, this is funny. I'll be quick. But if you have something that, if you pull a piece off, and there's a thin piece of plastic or rubber that's connecting this, or maybe it's connecting this part and bridging this little piece right here, that's flash. And if you've got that much excessive flash, then you've got a very old kit. This one's not terribly old. The details are still pretty crisp. You can always clean that up a little bit. Here's something interesting. I didn't expect to see this, but the tractor tread. So definitely posable. And a fun little thing you can have. This is 1/48 scale, if I didn't call that out earlier. And you can use, the best thing about this stuff is no matter how you want to display this, you can always find a use for these. Either another diorama or display, or something that really picks it up. And with that, I'm going to leave you for the day. Thank you so much for watching. This has been my longest video yet. It's 23 minutes long. Boy, it's a long video. Anyway, thank you again for watching. Everybody out there, have a very good day. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Goodbye.